Welcome to Echoes of Time, a journey into the forgotten worlds and the secrets they left behind.
So what if I told you the Olympics are way more than just a sporting event? That they're actually a 2,800-year-old story of gods, empires, and superpowers? Well, today we are going to unpack that epic history from sacred rituals in ancient Greece all the way to the global power plays of right now. Okay, so let's just start with that simple question. Are the Olympics really just about sports? I mean, when a major power like Russia gets banned from the 2024 Games because of its actions in Ukraine, that's a pretty clear signal that something much, much deeper is going on. The Olympics have become this huge stage for international politics, where a country's real-world actions can have real consequences in the athletic arena. And this, right here, this single image tells the story of the modern Olympics. It's a dead heat for gold between the United States and China. Now, this isn't just about who's better at swimming or gymnastics, nope. This is a visual scoreboard for global influence. We're talking economic power, political might, you name it. But to really understand how we got here, we've got to go way, way back to the beginning. To get the Olympics of today, you have to travel back with me almost 3 millennia to ancient Greece. Because, you see, the Games didn't start as some global competition. They began as something way more profound, an act of religious worship. The very first Olympic event ever was a simple foot race, about 200 meters long. The Greeks called it the stadion. And that's no coincidence, right? This one race, held in a field in Olympia, gave us the modern word stadium, the very place where these incredible games happen today. Just imagine it. The roar of the crowd, the dust kicking up, it all started right there. You see, the original games were built around this sacred 3-part ritual. First, the athletes had to make a pilgrimage to the grand temple of Zeus, the king of the gods, to pay their respects. Then, a sacred flame was lit, a symbol of divine fire that would burn for the whole festival. Only after these duties to the gods were done could the games actually begin. It was a deeply spiritual thing, a far, far cry from the commercial spectacle we know today. In all this intense competition, well, it had a massive side effect. It created a culture completely obsessed with peak physical performance. It literally forged some of the most fearsome warriors in the ancient world. We're talking about the legendary Spartans here. So the Olympics weren't just about who got a laurel wreath, they were a training ground for war, ensuring Greece's armies were the strongest around. Now, this sacred tradition lasted for centuries. It was a cornerstone of Greek culture. But then, a new power rose up and started to dominate the Mediterranean, the Roman Empire. And when they arrived on the scene, well, everything changed. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. The Romans took on the games, but they had zero interest in honoring Greek gods. For them, it was all about entertainment. The religious festival, once the sacred tribute to Zeus, was twisted into a bloody public spectacle, a warm-up act for the brutal gladiator games that would come to define Roman entertainment. Then came the biggest shift of all. As the Roman Empire slowly embraced Christianity, its leaders started to systematically tear down the old ways. All rituals they considered pagan, and that included the Olympic Games held for Zeus, were officially outlawed. The Games were seen as a relic of a past that just didn't fit into the new Christian world. And just like that, after almost 1,200 years of continuous tradition, the sacred Olympic flame was extinguished. That symbol of peace, of unity, of athletic greatness, just snuffed out by the changing tides of history. It is so hard to even comprehend that amount of time. For 1.5 millennia, 1,500 years, the Olympics just vanished from the world, a forgotten piece of a lost civilization. I mean, imagine that. For 1,500 years, no champions, no sacred flame, nothing. It's like a massive part of our shared history was just erased. But you know, some ideas are just too powerful to stay buried forever. So how in the world did this ancient tradition make a comeback after 1,500 years in the dark? Well, it all kicked off with a powerful sense of national pride. So here's how it happened. In the 1800s, after Greece finally won its independence from the Ottoman Empire, there was this huge surge of interest in reviving its ancient culture. A journalist named Panagiotis Soutsos had the idea to bring the games back, and that idea just caught fire. And finally, in 1896, in Athens, the birthplace of it all, the Olympic Games were reborn. And this is the absolute key. While the games came back, their purpose had changed forever. They were no longer about honoring gods. They had a new master, the ambitions of nations and the great chessboard of global politics. The Olympics had become a new kind of battlefield, where victories weren't won with swords, but with gold medals and national anthems. This brings us to this really fascinating idea about the modern games. For the last century or so, Olympic dominance has been this powerful predictor, a mirror reflecting which nations are rising and which are falling on the world stage. Think about it. The rise of Great Britain, the dominance of the United States after the wars, the emergence of the Soviet Union, all of it was reflected in the Olympic medal count. I mean, look no further than the 1936 Berlin Games. Nazi Germany poured a ridiculous amount of resources into dominating the medal count, as you can see right here. This wasn't about sportsmanship. It was a carefully crafted propaganda campaign to project an image of Aryan supremacy and national strength, just years before plunging the world into war. And then after World War II, the Olympic Stadium basically became the main stage for the Cold War. As this chart shows, for decades, every single gold medal won by the Soviet Union or the United States was treated as a victory for their entire ideology. It was a clear demonstration of whose system was superior. These weren't just sporting events, they were proxy battles in a global conflict. Which brings us right back to today. And it's just amazing how history repeats itself, right? Just as the medal count once reflected the US versus the USSR, this slide shows how it now mirrors the great power competition of our time, the United States versus a rising China, battling it out for supremacy, one gold medal at a time. So from a tribute to Zeus, to a spectacle for Roman emperors, to a proxy war for superpowers, the Olympics have always been a mirror of our world. They reflect our values, our ambitions, and our conflicts. So the final question is, as our world keeps changing, as new powers rise and old ones fall, what will that mirror show us next?
This was Echoes of Time. If you love powerful history stories, subscribe and continue the journey with us.